Welcome to another live space with Oliver Velez, of course. My name is Oliver Velez, and we're going to talk about our favorite topic today. Once again, Bitcoin. That's right. So come on in, make yourselves comfortable. Grab the beverage of your choice. I've got some electrolytes here. Grab the beverage of your choice. Maybe grab something to take notes with. I always take notes during sessions like this. And just consider all yourselves welcome, guys. You do not have to be shy about participating here, whether you are a supporter, a hater, a Bitcoin negator, whatever. It doesn't matter. Everybody's welcome. And I really encourage that you participate. It seems as though I'm starting to get more and more comments that I'm able to see on the platform that I'm using. So that's good. I used to get quite a bit more. So I think that the platform is somewhat limiting the number of comments that I'm able to see for whatever reason. But you try to comment, guys. And I'll try to get to every one of your comments if I can. All right, guys. So, today, my talk today was somewhat spurred by a recent comment that I came across, or question, I should say, that was posed to me. I can't remember whether it was publicly or in my DMs, but the question was a sincere one. It was, Oliver, how do we know Bitcoin is being the first attempt at decentralized sound money? Or how do we know that there's not something better, that oftentimes the first attempt at something does not work? Now, this is very true in a very real sense. This is true. The first attempts at something rarely work. And this is historical. What typically happens is that the first attempt at something that has never been accomplished or done, in effect, accomplishes, even though the first attempt fails, it cuts down the tall grass 2/3 of the way. So that failed attempt, even though it's often not successful, that first attempt knocks the tall grass down low enough for all the others that come after it to see further than the first attempt was capable of seeing. So the grass is usually extraordinarily tall when it comes to something that's never been done before. So the first attempt can only see the tall grass. They make progress, they chop the grass down, but they don't get all the way. Historically, most of the time, the first attempt doesn't last, doesn't work. But that first attempt lowers the tall grass low enough to where those that follow behind the first attempt can see further than those who were part of the first attempt, and they get further, and the odds go up by orders of magnitude that the second or third attempt is going to be a lot more successful than the first attempt. And so this person's question was right in that, how do we know the first attempt at true sound money like this is going to be the successful one? And where the question goes wrong, the question is wrong at its very premise, because that question assumes that Bitcoin is the first attempt at sound money, in particular sound digital money, and it is not. In fact, Bitcoin is an old idea whose time has finally come to fruition. And this is what I want to talk to you about today. Bitcoin has been in a process of evolution for centuries. And one of the first attempts at Bitcoin, let me show you. One of the first attempts at Bitcoin is this. Boom. Now, these are rye stones. They are, they are, they were, they reside or have resided largely on the Yap Islands. All right. And the first use case of rye stones is really not known, but we do know it's hundreds and hundreds of years. I'm going to guess around the 1400s or so. And what this society attempted to do was to they had a form of money that was used for daily things as well as social events like dowries and inheritance and political maneuverings. These stones were so very difficult to quarry that they were scarce, they were rare. And these stones became a social construct for value, for exchanging at very high levels, as well as on a daily basis. These stones served as a ledger. So a certain family could own a portion of one stone. Another family could own another portion. They became status symbols. They became Veblen goods, for lack of a better phrase. We'll talk about Veblen goods in just a moment. And so the reason why this worked for hundreds and hundreds of years is because it was very, very difficult to create new stones. The quarrying process that took place on other islands, and then the transporting it to the Yap Islands was extraordinarily difficult. So the supply of these special rye stones was limited by physical elements, by manpower, by time, by difficulty. And so it was virtually impossible to inflate the money supply out of control. It was impossible to start creating these things in large amounts. And they were the first attempt at a Bitcoin. They even look like a frickin' coin. All right. And it's not really until from 1400s or so, it's not really until the 1900s, the 1800s and 1900s, that the supply of rye stones started to increase more rapidly than ever before in history. And the increase in technology with technological tools and manufacturing tools and things of that nature made reproducing these stones just as you see them a lot easier. And what eventually happened was that the wealth and resources of the the um the people who relied on rye stones for their wealth was ultimately consumed and taken by the Europeans, who were able to reproduce these stones, inflate the supply before the people on the Yap Islands understood that they no longer had a good money. The moment you can duplicate the supply with rapidity and with rather ease, your money is no longer good. It won't go to zero overnight. It will go to zero ever so gradually as the supply gets inflated. But if you are not aware that you hold the poor money now, you hold a debasing money, you hold a money that can only lose value over time. If you recognize that too late, you lose everything to those who are printing the stones, making the stones. They take it all. Now, this is a story as old as time, taking something of value someone finds a way to create more of that valuable thing, the people who rely on that thing as being valuable and run their lives based on that value system, not knowing that someone has now have the ability to reproduce this with ease, they lose everything. In fact, there are historical stories that people have become slaves. The same thing happened in Western Africa with Aggry beads. These beads were very difficult to make. These beads were put in the form of necklaces and things of that nature in intricate tapestries that had huge value in this Western African culture. It took a very detailed skill that was typically passed down from generation to generation. A very small number of people in the entire society knew how to make them, and it was extraordinarily time consuming. And it made these Aggry beads very rare. And this became the rise stone of these Aggry beads became the rise stone of Western Africa. And all of the system, all of the society's wealth was based on that money, Aggry beads, until someone, a European, found out that all of the wealth is based on these Aggry beads, and we have the technology to make them faster than they do. And so the Europeans began bringing over boatloads and boatloads of these Aggry beads that they were manufacturing. And before the people began trading their items, their land, their resources for these valuable Aggry beads, thinking, continuing to think that it's the same value, the same money, the same wealth system. But no, once someone has the ability to print more of your money, if you don't realize that now, because someone else can print your money goes down forever. They will take everything from you, everything. And this is what happened to the Western African society that relied on Aggry beads. Before they realized what was going on, the Western Africans were so in debt to the Europeans. They had given up all of their land, all of their resources. They even began to start to try to pay off some of their debt by offering their family members as slaves. The people were ultimately robbed of everything they had and were actually enslaved because they did not realize, they realized too late that my money is bad. The Japanese, they realized too late their stones were bad money. Someone else can print them now. Someone else can make the Aggry beads faster than we can now. And so this is a story as old as time, people. It's a story as old as time. It's the same thing. And today, let me see, let me show you this. Today, I to this very day, I fight. Why is this not working? There we go. Give me a second. I fight with people every single day. They fight with me, actually. And all I'm trying to do is let them know that you are the Japanese today. If you still believe that this Let me show you. If you still believe, huh, there we go. Give me a second here. I'll get it. I come up with these ideas in the middle of the thing here. If you still believe that you have the good money, you are the Japanese of old, believing that this, the US dollar or any fiat currency in the world today, is the good money. Continue to believe that, and every single thing over time, every single thing that you have, every single thing that you own will no longer be yours. And the ultimate state is true financial slavery. You are the Western African who has failed to realize that I no longer have the good money. And as long as you don't realize that, someone is going to give you your bad money and take your goods from you. But you're going to be happy that you received the bad money. I got the US dollar. Yes, I gave up this for it. I gave up something of real value for this money, which is no longer good, but you still think it's good. And this is what's happening to your money. This is what's happening to your life. This is what's happening to your family. This is what's happening to your wealth. This is what's happening to the very quality of the time you spend here on planet Earth. You still don't get that someone's giving you this bad money for your time, the most valuable thing you have. You give your time and get this in exchange. Does that look like a success story? Does that look like it's winning? Does that look like it's desirable? Does that look like you should be busting your ass 40 to 60 to 70 hours a week, giving that time away for this? No, this is the bad money. And the earlier you realize this, the greater the odds that you save yourself and your family and your future from ultimate financial slavery. Because that is what this system is designed to do. It is to take your time, which is the most valuable thing you have, and give you back garbage for it. So, in addition to the Yap stones, so remember, guys, Yap stones back in the 1500s became sort of like that first real organized attempt to have a ledger based on something, a money based on something that could not be multiplied very quickly, that was based on a very sound ledger system. So there was a dude on the Yap Island who was responsible for keeping the books and the records. Okay, you own a quarter of this stone, you own a half of that stone. You own this whole stone. Wow, you own a whole Bitcoin. You own a whole stone. Wow. And then they started losing their wealth because someone was able to print or make the money fast, stones fast. Yeah, the Aggry beads, all of their wealth was based on this. An Aggry bead collection could be equivalent to acres of land or cattle or whatever, a business or whatever. And that went to shit because someone was able to make the beads faster than they were able to make them. You are working for dollars and you are giving your most valuable, precious commodity for something that someone else can make out of thin air faster than you can. It takes you 40 to 60 hours to make a week's worth of pay, and they can do it like that. That means that you are their ultimate slave. Anytime you are working for a money that another man can print faster than you, you're printing dollars by working, but you're giving your time. If someone can print that without time, you are their slave. This is his story. This is his story. This is history. This is historical. I'm not making this up. This is the same story over and over and over and over again. Right? So let's go to now the 1900s to show you how the spirit of Bitcoin is moving through time, seeking the right moment to emerge in its most perfect form. Because the idea, Bitcoin is really the manifestation of the idea that humans just want a pure money that is incorruptible. Because why do we want a pure money? Because money is the representation of your time. Money equals time. You understand? You gave 40 hours for this money. That piece of paper, those digits on a screen are the digital representation of your life, 40 hours of your life. These numbers, whether that's 2,000 or 1,000 or whatever that number is, that you made by giving 40 hours of your time, boom, that hits your account. Those digits are the digital representation of your time. What's your time? Your life. Money is your life. And so, all humans want is to protect my life. It is innate in our DNA. It is part of the survival. Is part of the survival instinct. I gave my life. This is now my life in digital form. I just don't want someone to be able to fuck with that. That's all humans want, is a good way to protect their lives. Time is your life, and money is the representation of your time, which means naturally that money is your life. And so we see the attempts to perfect this money throughout human evolution. The story of humans can literally be viewed as the search for sound money, the search to save my life, which we already established is money. Money is the representation of your life, your time. So let's go to the early 1900s, where this attempt continued through, and I'm going to show you an old post of mine. Shoot. It's not it. Give me a second. Not it either. Give me a moment here, guys. I'm going to show you another older post of mine where I talked about this. See if I can get it. No. Give me a second here. Okay. Here we go. There it is. Here it is. I got it. Early 1900s, guys. Do this again. Move this. There we go. Boom. Okay. Here's a post of mine. When did I do this? 23 August 9th, 2023. I'll read it very quickly here. 1900, Nikola Tesla, all right? Tesla predicted Bitcoin mining. Now, do your research on this. This is the original idea from which Bitcoin mining came from. It came from Nikola Tesla. He was the original former of the notion that an energy-based competition with machines that would end wars. That's why we call Bitcoin as peace, the peaceful revolution, because Bitcoin is literally simply a war over energy. It is a hash war. And that is a peaceful war. It does not require human death in this massive competition. All right. So he predicted this, an energy-based competition with machines that would end wars. Now, Henry Ford followed up on this notion of Nikola Tesla by introducing the idea that we should have an energy-backed money. Look, here is the, I'll even show it to you guys. Here is the, there's your article right there. When was the date of this? I don't see the date on here. But Ford would replace gold with energy currency and stop wars. There's that idea again. A money backed by energy. And so these are the early, guys, these are the early formations of this notion that we can have a better money. You understand? The Yap didn't work. The Aggry beads didn't work. Gold is starting to fail us because it can't be a viable medium of exchange in a fast-paced society. What about having a money backed by energy to end wars and have machines be the competitors for this energy? This is all the way back in the early 1900s. I believe Satoshi drew on these ideas. So my point in going over this is that the spirit that lives within Bitcoin has been living for hundreds of years. It has been seeking the perfect outlet. It has seeped its way through the ideas of certain people, the attempts by others, and finally came into full fruition through Satoshi Nakamoto's realization, Bitcoin. But the movement is not new. This movement continued, guys, into the cypherpunk movement, right? Where there were attempts in this new emerging digital society, right, that was emerging in the world back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, to come up with a form of money that was better, that was backed by cryptography, that offered some additional measure of autonomy and privacy. And there were many attempts at this before Bitcoin came into existence. All right. Some of these attempts were, let's go over some of them. They were, I have some of them listed here. Let me get a second here. So, you know, you had, Adam Back, shout out to Adam Back out there. Adam Back was the inventor of Hashcash. That's the proof of work system used by several anti-spam systems today. And a similar, Satoshi Nakamoto drew on that to create a similar proof of work system that's built into Bitcoin. Adam Back did this all the way back in the 80s or 90s. Nick Szabo, right? He designed a mechanism called for decentralized digital currency called BitGold, I think. And Satoshi Nakamoto drew off of his attempt to create a sounder form of money called BitGold. Then there was Wei Dai, who published B Money. That was an anonymous distributed electronic cash system that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Microsoft even wanted to invest a chunk of money into Wei Dai's B Money and put it in every single Windows. This was in 1989 that Microsoft wanted to do this. Microsoft saw the idea that having a digital currency that was part of every single Windows that would become potentially something you could use for commerce globally was an idea that Microsoft got behind. And it was only Wei Dai who turned the offer from Microsoft down, if I'm not mistaken. But these were all earlier attempts, or that may not have been Wei Dai. Maybe that was David Chaum. Maybe I got them mixed up. So maybe I believe that was David Chaum, where Microsoft wanted to invest in David Chaum's DigiCash in 1989. But in essence, Satoshi Nakamoto in his writings, I believe, gave credit mostly to, he listed Adam Back in the white paper for his Hashcash proof of work system. He listed him in the white paper. Shout out to Adam Back. But he specifically said that Bitcoin is an implementation of Wei Dai's B Money proposal and Nick Szabo's BitGold proposal. And so my point here, people, is that this person's question to me was predicated on the false notion that Bitcoin is the first attempt at this. The attempt for sound money spans over almost the entire civilization of the human race. This is an old idea. It is a movement that humans have been trying to attain throughout the entire evolutionary process. And as it relates to digital money, it is far from the first attempt. The first attempts failed. The first attempt, the second attempt, the third attempt. Bitcoin is not the first. Bitcoin is not the MySpace, which was the first in its industry, right? And failed. Bitcoin was not the MySpace of cryptocurrencies, digital money. And the only thing that caused the main problem with all of the earlier attempts was that they were centralized. That was the thorn in their flesh. All of them had centralized, they were based on centralized systems where Satoshi Nakamoto solved that issue by making it totally decentralized money, no central authority, no person you have to rely on or trust for anything. And this is one of the most special things. There are many special things about Bitcoin, but one of the things that really blows my mind over and over again as I sit with Bitcoin, and it never fails to astonish me whenever I think about the fact or contemplate or ponder the fact that no human being is running this, people. Think about this. Everything on earth, human beings run. control, operate. Name something that human beings don't run. Now, some people say, well, Oliver, the weather. Human beings have control over the weather in many aspects now. But name something, name a protocol, name a network, name a system that human beings do not control, run, operate, dictate when it starts, when it stops. This is the first and only thing human beings have ever been exposed to that actually runs all by itself. In fact, people, let's take it further. Not only does Bitcoin operate, live, and breathe on its own volition, every 10 minutes producing a new block, it actually is the only thing on planet Earth that employs and pays human beings. Are you kidding me? Holy moly. Think about this, people. Bitcoin employs humans. What network employs human beings? What network lays out the pay schedule and say, look, this is what I pay. This is what I pay. You want to come work for me? Here's what I pay. Here's my pay scale all the way out to 2,140. All right, here it is, right here. If you want to work, you're welcome to come work for me. And I will pay you this. And I will pay you every 10 minutes. But we're going to do this work in the form of a competition. And I will reward the best, the most efficient, the best, the fastest, the whatever. And anyone, any human being can work for me. Any human being can give me their efforts. Now, there is nothing that humans have ever come in contact with until now that employs human beings. And I'm going to take and pays them and has human beings fighting, competing with each other in peaceful ways to get that payment from Bitcoin. Usually, the superior thing pays, and the payee is the inferior thing. What does that tell you? Bitcoin is the payer. Human beings are the payees. A superior living mechanism. Wow. I'll take it even one step further. I believe that there will be a day where every single human being on Earth works for Bitcoin. Every single one. All of our appliances will contribute to the Bitcoin hash rate. Every one of our computers, every one of our cell phones, every one of our electric lamps, everything that we utilize, this day is coming. Watch me, mark my words, where every single thing you plug in, every single thing you use, every car you drive, every appliance in your kitchen, every electronic, every consumer good, all your lamps, everything, everyone's going to mine. It's just going to be automatic just by plugging shit up in your house. Just by using stuff, you're going to be adding to the hash rate. And why not if the world's value is there? Why wouldn't you want to contribute to make it more decentralized, to make it safer, to make it more secure? Why wouldn't you want to work for what is protecting and holding everything that you are, everything that you've accomplished, and everything your family will be? The incentives are insane. Everyone's going to want to work for this. Bitcoin will attract the best engineers on planet Earth. They're going to choose Bitcoin first because that's where their future is. That's where their wealth is. That's where their life is. That's where their everything is. So the best engineers will work for Bitcoin. The best managers will work for Bitcoin. The best leaders will work for Bitcoin. The best computer scientists will work for Bitcoin. The best mathematicians will work for Bitcoin. Bitcoin will get the best of human society because everyone's going to be incentivized to. The best security experts will work for Bitcoin. This is when you really grasp it. It's like, wow, wow, insane in a good way. Love your content. I appreciate that, Cryptovich. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right. Bitcoin will greatly outpace the adoption of gold, of which we don't know how long it took to adopt. Yes, absolutely. This is why, guys, I have different views regarding how you judge the adoption of Bitcoin. So let me just show you this, if I may. I just wish that I could. I want to show you this. Oh, you suck. Oh, no, that's cool. Here, let's do it like this. I am going to put this up for you. I think you'll like it. I think that you will like this. So, guys, this is how I judge Bitcoin's adoption. It is not price as much as it is hash rate. I already told you that I believe that every single human being will contribute to this Bitcoin's hash rate. And if you look at that, it is just straight up. It's not even really to the right. It's just straight up. It's an exponential rise without any sign of stopping, just occasional stalls. All right. Now, what you see here is when China forced many of their Bitcoin miners to unplug and the hash rate dropped, but very, very rapidly recovered. There's a possibility that China has a surprise for us as well, where they were going to reverse all of that. But here's how you pay by making a mistake with Bitcoin. I believe that before the year's out, China will probably make the world know that they embrace Bitcoin again. Here is where they made the world know that they were somewhat hostile to it because they were launching their CBDC and saw Bitcoin as a threat to that. This was their mistake, and they're coming back here. That's the price you pay for being out of this, for making the mistake to negate it, to deny it. You will come back every single time. You're going to come back. You're going to have to adopt this. But look at how much they lost. Look at how late they are compared to when they attempted to deny it. And that's the price you pay for getting out of this thing, which is why I pound the table on the message that you should not be getting out. You should just be getting more. China got out here. Now they're going to come back in here. You understand? They got Gregged. Remember that? They got Gregged, did they not? That's the problem. I don't want you to get Gregged, guys. You know what getting Gregged is, right? I don't want you to get Gregged. Here. I don't want you to get Gregged. Nobody wants to be Gregged. I wish I had my 1,700. That's a Bitcoin whale, right? I wish I had my 1,700 BTC at $6 instead of selling them out at 30 cents. Now, 6 to 30 cents, that's a mega move. Holy moly. 6 cents to 30, that's a mega move. Now that they're $8 now, that's an unreal move. You see, guys, the goal should not be to get more of this, people. The goal, we went over this, the goal should not be to get more of. I got to find it again. All right, I'll just do it like this. The goal should not be to get more of that. Do you understand? That should not be the goal. That's what you're trying to get more of when you think about selling. When you think about selling, what you're saying is that Bitcoin is really the stepping stone for more of this. It's not the important thing. The important thing is for me to get more yapstones. You're saying when you think about selling that I'm just using Bitcoin to get more Aggry beads. Bitcoin's not the important thing. I'm just using it as a tool to wind up with more Aggry beads. This is dumb. That's a failing money. And you're the Western African that still thinks you should be working for that. You're the Japanese who still think that you should be working for your big giant stone. And those who understand that the real money now is Bitcoin, they're going to own everything. He who has the most superior money winds up getting everything from those who don't realize that they have the wrong money. That's the wrong money, people. Want to see what the right money is? I can show you. I can show you what the freaking right. You want to see? You know, guys don't want to see. Don't want to see anything. You guys don't want to see anything. I'm going to show it to you anyway. Show it to you anyway. That's the real freaking money. It's a baby, but we're early. That's the real money, guys. You know? I like this time frame, by the way, guys. Let me show you the time frame I like the most. I sort of like the 4 month. I like a variety of them, but I like the 4 month. You see how orderly that is? So I tell my guys, I teach my traders a neat little counting system. All right. If you can count to five, you can set yourself up, your family's future up for life, people. If you can count to five, can you count to five? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can count to five. You can count to five? Okay. So if you can count to five, let me show you. Um, During Bitcoin's bear markets, you need to count to five. So this upcoming bear market will likely be, I'm wondering why I can't ever move this from this position. Anyway, doesn't matter. I can make it disappear. So let me just do it like this. I'll just do it with this. Here. These are the bear markets, right? Okay. Now, let me show you something. I want you to count how many red bars down on this chart you get for the bear market. I'm going to help you out. You get 3. I've been teaching this for 30 years, guys. 3 to 5. If you can count, this is where you start. And this is where you end if it gets there. So during a bear market, you always start accumulating on 3. Heavy. So if we count this, look, 1 red bar, 2, you need red, 2 red bars, 3. Now start on the 3rd one, heavy. And you're going to buy on 3, 4, and 5. You might not get 4 and 5. You might get 3. Look, 1, 2, 3. On 3, go hard. And if there's a 4th one, go even harder. And if there's a 5th one, go even harder. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You start on 3 and you accumulate 3 through 5, 3 through 4 in this case. In this case, 3. So in each of these bear markets, right, you got, here was your accumulation ones. You got 2 bars there to accumulate heavy. You got 1 bar here to accumulate heavy, and you got 3 bars here to accumulate heavy. Now, what this does, guys, when you utilize the downward moves to get more on 3, 4, and 5, that's using that time frame, guys. You got to use the 4-month chart, right, to do this. All right, that causes you to step back, have a nice perspective, and count the bars. It's a simple count, right? Now, if you do that, you wind up, guys, check this out. You wind up with this. How special is this? You wind up you stack, guys. See, you stack during the 3. You stack during the 3. Let me get it. 3 to 5. You had 1 Bitcoin, but if you stack during the 3 to 5, during the 3 to 5 down move, when this emerges out of the down, you see, when this emerges out of the down, and you get here, this is the Bitcoin you have. The goal is to get Bitcoin. So while you're accumulating, you're getting more Bitcoin. But when this happens, you get mega Bitcoin. What they used to say in my childhood days, buku Bitcoin. Buku. How many people remember that? That's buku Bitcoin. Nobody. You guys don't remember that. Aging myself. I know. The goal is not to get, the goal, guys, is not to get dollar rich. I showed you what the dollar's doing. The goal is to get Bitcoin rich. So this requires people. That's right, Bart. This requires people to make Bitcoin their unit of account. When you make Bitcoin your unit of account, you begin measuring everything against Bitcoin instead of measuring everything against the dollar. You see, that's the trap. When you stay measuring everything against the dollar, but the dollar lies to you. Do you understand this? Yes, we're forced to work for it by gun, by imprisonment. We have no choice. We're slaves on the plantation called the United States. You might be slaves on the plantation called Venezuela or Argentina or Turkey or Japan or Australia or the UK. They're all plantations. And they all have their piece of paper, their coupon that we, by threat of imprisonment, have to give our life for their coupon. We have no choice. If you're born in the UK, you give your life, which is your life, your time. You give your time for the master's piece of paper that they drew pictures on to make it look kind of nice for you, right? They are in control of the number, which means that they will constantly take from you. Remember, we talked about whoever controls the supply takes from those who work for the money. All right. It's all throughout history. So my point is that when you stop using your piece of paper as the measuring stick, and you start using the superior thing, Bitcoin as the measuring stick, you start to really see cracks in the system, and you see that the paper money is lying to you. The US dollar is lying to you. Let me give you an example of this. All right. I will show you how you should start measuring everything against Bitcoin. After this talk, you should do this for the rest of your life. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay. Let's do it. For the rest of your life, you will do this. I'm going to bring it up here. Bring it up here again. We're going to look at Bitcoin. Now, instead of looking at the dollar, this is looking at Bitcoin through the eyes of the dollar. So remember, guys, look, I want you to look at this. This is the pair Bitcoin US dollar. Okay. So that means the second item is the glasses. So this is what I want you to understand. There's Bitcoin is the first item, slash, and the second item is the glasses. So we're now looking at Bitcoin through the USD lens, and it's impressive. The US dollar lens is impressive. But what if I look at the dollar through the Bitcoin lens? Now that's what you should be doing. You see, the dollar lens lies to us in a way. The Bitcoin, when we put the Bitcoin glasses on, whoa. You understand? The Bitcoin glasses, whoa. You're like, is this fucking real? Holy shit. What? You're going to get the shock of your life. And after this talk, you're going to do this for life, forever. You're going to use Bitcoin's glasses. So let me show you how to do this. So now we're going to look at the dollar through the eyes of Bitcoin, and we're going to reverse this. So we're going to reverse it. Here's how we reverse it, right? Reverse it like this. Erase all these drawings. We take we take Dixie. Let's take the Dixie. That's the US dollar currency index. Let me just switch this around here, guys. Okay. So we take the US dollar index. You see the top one here, US dollar index. And we put a slash there. This is using trading view, right? So Dixie, DXY slash, and you're always going to use Sats USD. So Sats as in Satoshis, Sats USD. Okay? That's the one I want you to use because that one gives you the entire history of Bitcoin. Okay? That symbol is the whole history of Bitcoin. The other ones, when you use BTC, it's not the whole history. So we need to use Sats USD. So Dixie / Sats USD, and that's your money. That's, guys, when you look at the dollar through the eyes of Bitcoin, you're like, holy shit. This is a sinking boat. I'm living life on a boat that's sinking. And I don't even fucking realize it. If I continue to stay on this boat, I die. Do you understand? Bitcoin is the glasses that shows you what's really going on in the world. But now, let's take a look at something else. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Index. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. So here's the NASDAQ. We do the NASDAQ 100 because that's been a performer, right? We're going to take the NASDAQ 100 and we're going to look at it through the eyes of the US dollar. Boom. Oh my goodness. Look, will you look at that? Are you serious? That is impressive, is it not? That is crazy. That the US dollar is telling you. So guys, remember, this is NASDAQ / USD. It's telling you, wow, this is impressive. But let's now look at the NASDAQ. Bitcoin. Let's do it. I'm going to keep the glasses on because it's Bitcoin glasses. All right, let's do it. So now I'm going to not look at the NASDAQ through the dollar. I'm going to look at it through Bitcoin. Remember, the second item is the glasses. So I'm going to do NDX / second item, Sats USD. Sats USD. And look. Holy shit. Are you kidding me? Bitcoin, it's almost like, guys, like you're like this, like, wait a minute. Is this shit real? Like, that's what the NASDAQ's doing to me? Wait a minute. But I thought it was going up. You put the Bitcoin glasses on, you say, holy shit, it's not going up. It's fucking going down. The dollar's lying to me. I got the wrong fucking glasses. I have the right glasses now. This is showing me the fucking truth. The NASDAQ's not going up, not in Bitcoin terms, not in real money terms. Remember, the Japanese thought their money was going up, but it was going down because someone else was making more of them. But they thought it was going up. They had the wrong fucking glasses. You understand? The Western Africans with their Aggry beads, they thought that it was valuable, but the value was dropping, but they thought it wasn't dropping. They had the wrong fucking glasses. We think that the NASDAQ's going up. That's the wrong fucking glasses. It's not going up. NDX, not in real money terms. Sats, USD. It's going fucking down. It's going down, 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 down. You follow what I'm saying, guys? Is this making sense? Are you picking up what I'm laying down? Are you smoking on this? I hope you're getting high on this, because this will change your life. It'll change your whole perspective that I don't give a fuck if the dollar says Bitcoin's going down. That's the lie. Bitcoin's not going down. You understand? What else should we look at? Someone tell me if they understand what I'm saying. I don't see any comments here. You guys understand what I'm saying? Am I confusing you? Is this way over your fucking head? I guess it is. Nobody's responding. Probably are. I just probably don't see you. All right. Okay, cool, Calvin. Thank you. So now, shall we continue? Oh, wait a minute. Let's look at Berkshire Hathaway. Oh, my goodness. Oh, this is the, look, all-time new highs. Berkshire Hathaway. Look at that history. Okay. I don't want to go into this, but guys, whenever you see this in life, you see this? Whenever you see this in life, you see how almost perfect it is? That's a fugazi. Did you hear what I said? Whenever you see that in life, people, that is a fugazi. It's not real. Just think Bernie Madoff. His chart looked like that. No major dips, no anything. Fugazi. You can't do that if it's real. That's fake. I won't go down that rabbit hole now. That's a different day. But I'm telling you, that's not real. Now, check this out. This is looking at Berkshire Hathaway through the eyes of the US dollar. Let's look at Berkshire Hathaway through the eyes of Satoshis. Shall we? Shall we? What? You're like, the fuck? The fuck? Oliver, is this shit real? It's fucking. This is real? This is real, Oliver? Yes, that's real. Bitcoin makes you see the world real because it's real money. All the other money is false. You can only see the truth if you have the best money. The best money shows the truth. You're like, holy shit, Oliver, the fuck is this? Where'd you get these glasses from? And I got them from Satoshi Nakamoto, man. It's a Fugazi. Bitcoin Chris, thanks, buddy. Most people don't know what that is. The real ones know, right? Look it up. Fugazi. All right. It's a fake. So what else you want to look at? Well, Oliver, Apple is the most valuable asset on planet Earth, no? Isn't Apple the most valuable asset on planet Earth? All right, let's try it. Look at this. Let me show you this. Apple is the most valuable thing on Earth outside of gold. You see that? All right, let me make myself small. So outside of gold, Apple is the most valuable thing on Earth, valued at 3.46 trillion. All right, it's the most successful company in the world. Now, they've been vacillating between Microsoft and Nvidia and what have you recently, but for the most part, it has maintained that second spot outside of gold for quite some time now. All right, we know the success story of Apple. And if we look at the chart of Apple, right, we can look at the chart of Apple. Let's do that through the eyes of the dollar, and you see a very successful story. All right, my first investment, big investment in Apple was in 1998, right there. Is actually down here in the lower part of the green bar. But okay, and I held it and still have it actually, to be honest with you. But okay, not in the same quantity though, which went to Bitcoin. So anyway, my point is that through the eyes of the US dollar, this is very impressive. But it's not the truth. You see, when we price this in the real money, Apple, Sats, USD, you get a very different picture. So you see that you are being lied to by the fake money. That's the trick to keep you there. That's the trick that makes you want to say, that's the trick that's designed to make you say, get rid of the good one and come back to me, the bad one. It doesn't want you to abandon it. You understand? This is not the good money anymore. You understand this, people? It's tricking you by giving you false pictures. This is not the good money. Do you see that? That is a failing money. And whenever you say, whenever you ask, when do I sell the good for the bad? When do I sell Bitcoin, the good for the bad for this? You still don't fucking get it. And whenever people ask me that, you know, ever so briefly, there's this mental image in my mind of them asking it. I can't shake it, people. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry if it offends anyone, but I literally picture them asking it like this. Sell Bitcoin. That's how I picture them. Ever so briefly. It goes away, but it pops up there like that. I'm like, okay, I'm dealing with one of these people. When do I sell my freedom to go back to this bullshit? When do I sell the winning item to go back to the losing item? When do I sell the good thing, the 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 precious for the non-precious? When do I go back to prison? When do I go back to slavery? When do I sell my freedom and go back to slavery? And it doesn't fucking make sense. And what the goal should be is this. The goal should be this, guys. You understand? That should be the goal. You start off here. You don't sell during this. Remember, you start at 3 down. And if it goes to 5, good. That means you'll get more on the way down. But when this thing turns, this is what you ultimately have. You have more of the good. The goal is not to get out of the good and go to the bad. It is to get more of the good. And this will be easier for you if you start the practice of making Bitcoin your unit of account, and start measuring everything that you want to go to against Bitcoin and see how fucking ridiculous that is. All right, so I'm going to sell and go into some NASDAQ stocks. Well, put Bitcoin, price NASDAQ and Bitcoin, and you'll see how dumb that is. I want to sell and go to cash for a while. Well, put price cash in Bitcoin and see how fucking ridiculous that is. Anything you want to leave Bitcoin for, just price it in Bitcoin first, and you will get a fucking reality check. It's the stupidest thing you could ever do. And if you don't believe me, I promise you, as certain as night follows the day, do you understand this? You might as well be a Japanese or a Western African. Because those who get this will inherit it all. The good money holders take it all, every single time in history. Got it? All right. Oh, I think he's responding to tell people about their 30-year mortgages. Caution, some may run for the razor. Yeah, I mean, guys, look, I'm not anti-property. I mean, I had many properties. I'm down to 4. I had over 20 properties. That was before I discovered Bitcoin. And I've just been weaning out of them and going into Bitcoin. Weaned out of all of my gold, went to Bitcoin. Weaned out of many of my long-term stocks, pared them down, like Apple, Amazon, Eli Lilly, NVIDIA, all of these things, Microsoft, all of these things I held, McDonald's for decades. Weaned down, go into Bitcoin. The thing with property is that it's never yours. It's just marketing, right? Now, that doesn't mean that if it is your dream to have a home, I think you should go for that. I don't think you should deny your dreams. If it's the dream of your loved one to do that, then okay. But I do want you to understand that this is a story that has been sold to us from the plantation owners. You see, the plantation owners or the sharecroppers that run the slave system, They basically said, listen, you're mine because you were born here, just like the slave masters of old, right? So any slave on the slave master's plantation that was born automatically became the property and the owner, the property of that slave master, and they were a slave. We're born into a slave system. We have no choice. We're told you must give your, now, just because you were born here, you now have to work for me. You're going to give up 40 to 60% of what you work for to me. That is just for the special right of being born here. So you're going to go out, you're going to work, and I'm going to get 40 to 60%. You keep the rest. Now, with the rest, I will allow you to buy my shit. You want a plot of land on my plantation? You can buy that from me. But don't ever get it twisted. You will pay me rent until the day you die. I will call it property taxes. And I will occasionally, ever so regularly, raise that rent on you until you die. You will never stop paying me for this land. And I will even allow you to call it yours. Even though it's mine, it's my plantation, I can take it from your ass anytime I want. But as long as you're paying me, yeah, call it yours. Ha! Ha! Yeah, it's yours. It's your house. It's your land. Yeah, it's yours. So this is a system that was put in place to enslave more. I will give it to you. I'll even let you live there by giving me a little bit so that I can be, and I'll let you pay me over 30 years, not only the property tax, but for my cost. And I will ensure that you pay me triple, quadruple the actual price. I will make sure that I put you in situations where you'll have to work for me harder every year because I control the money. You give me time, and I, with my fake money, steal your time. And increasingly more and more every single year. I spoke about this yesterday. What is a 100% slave? A slave is a 100% slave is a slave that does not own his time. What that means is that some other man owns 100% of that human being's time. That is a 100% slave. Their time does not belong to them. Neither does the fruits of the labor that come from that time. So whatever that human being, the time doesn't belong to that human being. Their time on earth does not belong to them. It belongs to another man. But they must now use that time that's not theirs anymore. They must use that time to produce. And whatever that time produces belongs to another man as well. So neither do they own their time. They don't own their time, nor do they own the fruits of the labor of that time. That's a 100% slave. So what are you called if it's 50% or 40%? Let's take 40%. So you give 40% of your time and the fruits of the labor of that time. So 40% of your time belongs to the plantation, taxes. The fruits of the labor, 40% of that belong to the plantation. Now, what's that one called? Slavery. It's just a matter of degree. It's not different. Most people work half a year for taxes, and then the second half is theirs. Then they must take that leftover part and buy inflated shit from the plantation. And the plantation makes sure every year the price of the shit goes higher. so that you have to spend more time working for the plantation. Oh, you spent 3 hours to buy groceries for the week last year. Well, this year you're going to work 4 hours for me to get the same groceries. And the next year, you're going to work 5 hours to get the same groceries. And the next year, you're going to work 6 hours to get the same groceries. And you're going to do this for me until the day you die. And it's not going to stop there, because I'm going to make you pass your plight to your children, to your loved ones, and they will pick up where your dead corpse left off. But you will never escape this. And we never had an escape from this. A small group of men running the world, running money, running the system until Bitcoin. Bitcoin is our ultimate opt-out. This is why it's called freedom money. Most throughout history, these things have only been reversed temporarily through violence, through revolution, through revolt. Now we have a means by which we can revolt without violence. It is a peaceful revolution. It is a peaceful opting out by saying, I will earn the plantation's money, but I will flip it into Bitcoin. And a portion of everything I get from the plantation, that's slave money, I will convert it to freedom money. Now, listen to me carefully. What happens is that you do this for a period of time. You make the slave money. You take a portion of it and you transfer it to the freedom money. The slave money is going down. The freedom money is going up in exact proportion. Well, no, this is going up faster than the money is going down. So the freedom money is going up. You're making the slave money and you're switching it to you're flipping a portion to the freedom money. Your ship is sinking, but you still, by threat of imprisonment, you still have to give your time for that money. And so you're making that and you flip a portion to the freedom money. If you do this enough, this grows big enough at some point in the future, not that far either, where it says, okay, and it takes you completely out of the slave system forever. You have to pump it with the slave money for a while until it grows and grows and grows and grows. It will reach a point where it now delivers you, it saves you, it pulls you out of the slavery, and you never go back again. You retard this process by trying to play the trader game, in and out of freedom, in and out of freedom. When you stop pumping and you say, okay, now I'm going to put all of it back in the slave system, now it goes to zero again. Now, if you start again, you're going to start up here, and it's harder. Every time you start again, it gets harder. Do you understand? Freedom is going to come from 2 cycles. You will be let free 2, maybe 3, but 2. I think 2 cycles. That's 8 years. Some people say, Oliver, man, that's too long. 8 years is too long for me. Dude, 8 years is going to come whether you want it to or not. Why not let 8 years come and be free? You know, I'll tell you a quick story. My mother always wanted to go to college. It was her childhood great dream, but she was never able to. So much later in life, it was at Thanksgiving dinner, she announced to the family, we were all there. I'm an adult by this time, of course. And my mother was 50 years old at the time. And she announced in front of her 2 sisters that she was going to go to school and finally get her college degree, 50 years old. My aunts, her sisters laughed at my mom right there in my face and my mom's face. I didn't appreciate that. Anyway, one of them said, ha, 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 ha. You're going to go to school at 50. By the time you get a degree, you're going to be 55, maybe. And so my mother said, well, in 5 years, aren't I going to be 55 anyway? So I'd rather be 55 with a degree than 55 without one. And that's mom. She used to just drop wisdom bombs like that, just naturally. But it was just her working it through her mind. Like, I'm going to be 55 anyway, whether I like it or not, in 5 years. Why not be 55 with the degree? Why not? So 8 years is coming. Nobody can stop that. Why not let 8 years come and be free? Versus, oh, no, I'm going to, that's too long. And that's what bad money does. It raises the time preference. And so you think that you need to get lucky when you have bad money. You're looking for being lucky. You place a premium on being lucky, not on being good, not on being loyal, not on being real, not on being true. Bitcoin requires all of the greatest qualities and characteristics of the human being before it rewards you. Loyalty, dedication, discipline, being true, not denying when the going gets tough, not quitting, not giving up, sticking with what is real in the face of obstacles and ridicule. But on the other side of 2 cycles, you're fucking set for life. You know? All right, guys. Escape velocity. That's right, guys. That's right. Escape velocity. Don't forget, guys, if you can count to 3 to 5, you're going to be good. 4-month chart. All right. All right, guys. Whether you know it or not, love you to death. Anyone who's willing to sit through a Bitcoin talk, gotta love them. Gotta love them. All right, love you to death, guys. Ciao for now. Boom. Boom.